What's up, campers? If you're watching this video, you probably are interested in or have just purchased the Snow Peak Alpha Breeze. And if it's your first Snow Peak, congratulations. It's a great company, great culture behind it. Today, we're gonna go through a real-time, in-depth walkthrough of the single-person setup of the Alpha Breeze. And at the end, we'll walk through some of the favorite features that I have that makes it the tent that's always my go-to. And I'll show you some tricks and tips along the way of how to set it up. Like I said, especially solo, I've set these things up probably like more than 100 times. And there are some things that make it a little bit easier in this process that will make it go a lot smoother. Obviously, it's gonna be a lot easier if you have two people, but I'm gonna show you the single person setup if you are setting it up by yourself. So grab a notepad, open your notes app, because you'll want to take some notes on this. So the first thing we're gonna do is unpackage everything that's in here. I'll show you what it comes with. I'll show you some upgrades that I've made from the OEM stuff that's in here, and we'll get into it. First of all, the bag that it comes in does fit the tent along with the footprint. It does not come with the footprint, that's a separate package, but it does fit. It is a tight squeeze, but as you can see, everything is in here. So let's open it up. And as you can see, the first thing we have is the footprint. I usually pack the tent, which is the first, in a way that the first thing I take out is the first thing I'm gonna use. So you basically, when you're putting the tent away, put it away in reverse. So, oops, actually the footprint is right here, just to the side of it. So we got the footprint here. Put that on the side, followed by the tent itself. I am a stuffer, I am not a folder when it comes to tents. That's a separate conversation. Then inside you have your tent poles. This is a 4-pole system. 2 A-frame style poles in tradition with American style A-frame tents, and 2 curved poles that are more Japanese culture style. So it's a blend of 2 cultures in this tent. I believe the Alpha Breeze is the flagship of Snow Peak in the United States, and it's making waves and people love it. So here are your poles. Next in here are the tent stakes. Now these are not the tent stakes that it comes with. These are, I like to use forged tent stakes because I feel like they are a lot stronger. They handle a lot more of a beating. Snow Peak does sell similar style stakes, but these are not Snow Peak stakes. As you can see, I have a couple random ones in here. So stakes as well as guy lines if you're gonna guide the tent down completely. I'm not gonna guide the tent down completely in this video. I think that should be a separate video, but I can kind of show you a walkthrough. If you wanna know how to guide a tent down properly, let me know, because this is not just Snow Peak guiding it down, it's like more of a general guiding all types of tents down. And the last thing that is in here is the rainfly. And I do have guy lines just scattered at the bottom here, because I don't always guy every point down because it's not always windy, but those are the guy lines that should be in that bag. All right, now that we have all the components out, let's set her up.
The first thing we're going to do is start with the footprint. This is the Alpha Breeze footprint.
I always forget, but I'm pretty sure size-wise, there's a seam down the middle that is going to go perpendicular to your doors. So meaning the door will be facing you, the viewer right now, and the line's going down the middle.
Now that we have the footprint down,
and then we're going to put the tent down, door facing you. So what you're going to do is find the part of the tent that has the pole slot with the red on it. This is going to be your front door. These 2 tabs have the red, so this is going to be your front door. So once we found the red tabs, what I like to do is come down to the corners here and give it a nice, oops, I was stepping on it. And then another way to find it is the Snow Peak logo is going to be in the corner. So if you're facing the tent, the Snow Peak will be on your right side. All right, so when our tent is laid out, we have the red loophole towards the front, the blue tabs in the corners, and now it's time to set up the poles. So like I said, this is a 4-pole system. So let's get out all the poles and assemble them and put them aside, and we'll go through putting them on. You can probably hear the plane overhead, excuse the plane. The first 2 poles are the A-frame style poles. So we'll set each one up and place it and stage it so it's ready. So with these poles, this is a very important part. As you can see here, there are 2 blue stickers right here on the pole, the top part. This part should be facing you or facing outward when you set up the tent. So let's stage this right now. The blue part is going to become the side of the tent. The stickers are facing me. I'm going to place this down right there, just like that. Now, we're going to take the other pole now that it's nice and assembled, we're going to do the same thing. Stickers facing us. Walk it to the side and drop it down right there so it's ready to go. So right now we have the side pole A-frames, this side and this side. The next pole is the blue pole with the blue tips, the small blue tips. That is a straight pole. And this one's pretty simple placement. It's going to go between these 2 poles, but instead of putting it on the side, I'm going to throw it right there where it needs to be. And the last pole is the long pole. Remember those 2 front parts that are red? These are the red tips. It is color coordinated, so this pole is going to go into those red stitched sleeves. Now these poles are not completely straight because these are the bent poles. Even the one in the middle, the blue one, is not completely straight. There is a slight curve to it. So don't worry if you're assembling them and you see a little curvature. This is a very long one. So I'm actually going to set this one behind us until we're ready for it. That'll be the last pole that goes in. So now the next thing we're going to want to do is start with this middle pole, right? We're going to grab this middle pole that's between the 2 A-frame poles. Take one end and we're going to find the blue stitched sleeve right here. That kind of looks black on camera, but I assure you it's blue. And what we're going to do is put the blue tip in the blue sleeve. I'm doing this one-handed, so my camera setup was not what I thought it was going to be, but I think you get the picture. All right. That looks weird. Okay, now that we have, it's not attached to the A-frame poles yet. Now we're going to attach this to the A-frame poles. I'm going to do this one-handed, but you don't want this to be lifted up right now. You want it to be loose because this is one of the tricky parts. It seems simple, but when I set this tent up with other people, they always kind of struggle lining this up. So keep it loose because you want to be able to have some play. And just don't put any tension. Just slowly wiggle it in there and boom. See how easy that went? There you go. Now this is not strapped in yet. This is the only connection point we made. One side in. Now we're going to come around to the other side and do the same thing. When one side is done, this is actually a little harder because you will feel some tension of the weight of the tent on this. But see, you can do it with one hand. Don't force it. Get it in there and just kind of wiggle it around. You do kind of have to pull it up because it's a weird angle. See, one hand I'm kind of struggling. But there it goes. I could feel that pops right through. Boom. So now we have basically this situation going on. So we have the center connection points made with the blue sleeve, and our poles are not even clipped in yet. Next, we're going to clip in the poles. I like to do one side and then the other side. So how this works with the Snow Peak setup is, here's your pole. This is hollow right here. This little paper clip looking piece is inserted into there, like that. And that tension is what's going to keep it on. So again, you can pull it out, paper clip looking thing, inserted. Push the tent to the center, so this is a little bit more centered. I'm going to run my hand along here, keeping points of contact on the tent. Come down to this corner and insert the paper clip into the pole. Oops, some dirt came out, that's fine. Now, again, I'm keeping contact with the tent, doing the same thing, coming down, grabbing this corner, and completing the fourth insert to the paper clip. Boom. And basically we have our traditional style A-frame American tent now. Moonrise Kingdom style. And now it's time to insert the final pole, which really gives it that rounded look and what's going to give you the headroom towards the front of the tent. So now we're coming around the back, grabbing that last super long pole, and what we're going to do, this pole goes on the outside of both of these poles. We're going to come over, reach, and grab the sleeve, red pole, and we're going to push this all the way through. Sometimes, there you go. And center it as much as we can. Right here, all right. So now we basically have it sitting on the side there. Next, we're gonna come to one side. It doesn't matter which one you do because it's basically symmetrical. And we're gonna bend this down, and this is gonna clip in to the red strap where the red paper clip looking attachment point is. Boom. Leave the buckle out. Now we're gonna walk to the other side and do the same thing. Pull this down, insert the paper clip into the pole, and that tension system's gonna keep us erect. Next, we're gonna move up top and clip in this loop to the pole. Tighten it a little bit. You want it taut, but not tight. Same thing on the other side. There you go. Tight, but not taut, but not tight. Now we're gonna clip in all the rest of the clips. Super easy, big, wide pole system, which I really like. Makes it super easy. Make sure you get all of these. This is a Velcro strap that you can pull around the poles, but you can also strap the rainfly into this down if it's super windy. You just go around both the poles into the loop. Again, this is hard with one hand. And pull it. There you go. So that's nice and secure. Let's continue strapping all the straps, all the clips. Let's do this last guy. All right. So basically, if you're summer camping, you can rock the tent just like this if you're not expecting rain. I've seen some people do it. I like to always have the rainfly on because with the rainfly on, it doesn't impede with any of the screens. That's the Alpha Breeze, but as you can see, this is a typical A-frame style tent with the swoop of a more Japanese traditional style tent. I'm 5'10", and I can stand up in this, at the peak, but we'll get into that a little later. Once we're fully set up, I'll show you what the sizing is like inside. The one thing about this tent, if you do not use the rainfly though, is you might be able to see it in the video. It is pretty thin, so it is a little see-through. You can definitely make out a silhouette if someone was in there without the rainfly on, but once you put the rainfly on, it's a lot better. So let's get the rainfly on. So putting the rainfly on the tent is probably one of my least favorite things of any tent, but there are a couple tricks and tips to make it a little easier. When you have your rainfly out, look for this grommet right here, because this is going to be your front, or it's going to be what it kind of turns into your kind of awning area. So once you grab this grommet, you should be able to open your hands and you're going to find two zippers. Zipper 1, zipper 2. This is your awning. What you're going to do, what I do is I go like this and then I slowly start grabbing the tent. My tent's on the ground right now, but if you have a table to do this on, it's a little easier. So I'm just bunching up the rest of the tent in both of my hands like this. You don't have to do it all the way, but once you have a lot of the tent basically like this makes it easier. So I'm going to turn around, spin, and throw it on the tent. But I'll do it from this side, so hopefully it's a better camera angle. It's not going to be perfect. There is a little art form to it. And as I go like this, I'm going to release my fingers, tuck my thumbs in to keep a hold of the tent, the rainfly, and it's going to cover the tent. Let's see if it works. Actually, yeah. So I don't want all that slack, so I'm going to come down and get this slack up, and I think this will work better. So let's try it. That's good enough. So we have the front where it needs to be. Now we'll just come back to the back and slowly start pulling everything down. The triangle parts here are going to line up with the windows, so that's the A-frame. Remember what we're saying? A-frame. Look at that little spider. Where did he come from? Right there. The front here, boom. And you'll see at all the corners, the blue strap and buckle are going to line up with the blue strap and buckle. The red strap and buckle are going to line up with the red strap and buckle on the sides of the tent. And it repeats. Blue strap and buckle, blue strap and buckle, red strap and buckle, blue strap and buckle. Let's see. So next we're going to buckle all these in. It's pretty straightforward. It's a really easy system. Most people are familiar with how buckles work. Just clips right in. We are not guyed down yet. We are not staked down yet. I like to do the 4 blue corners and then do the red corners. Right, now that all of our blue corners are down, let's do the red sides. There we go. And once you're on here, if you want it a little taut, you can always tighten it up a little bit. But when you guy it down, it's going to tauten it up quite a bit. So now we're going to go to our stake bag. And this tent requires a minimum of 9 stakes. More if you want to guy it down.
And the 9 stakes is without using the awning. If you want to do the awning, it's going to be 11 stakes.
If I usually do the 7 stakes, I usually don't guy down the 2 middle ones. So I'm going to show you the 7, and then we'll show you the optional 2 for the 9. If you want to use the guy lines, which will probably be a separate video on guying a tent down in general, you're going to need more tent stakes. Basically, a full setup would require 1, 2, 3, 6, about 15 tent stakes. I always carry a couple extra, but again, that will be a separate video. Let's show you what I think is the minimal you need for this tent to have a good experience, which I think let's start with 7. So the 7 staking points are gonna be the one in the back for the back vestibule, the 4 corners, and the 2 up front for the awning. Let's get them all set up and we'll walk through how they go. So when staking a tent down, specifically with the Alpha Breeze, there is a loop right here for your designated tent stake to go through. Boom. And usually you don't want it to go straight up and down. I like them to be at an angle, and usually the angle is following the pole. So you'll get it down in there. And your angle is like 45 degrees. And we're gonna tap that in. I like to leave them half tapped. If it needs adjustments, it's way easier to pull them out. So let's go around and do the rest of them, starting with the 4 corners. Again, we're finding the loop. Now that we have that corner over there in, I'm gonna pull it this way and get it a little snug. You don't want slack, you don't want it super tight, just snug, just snug. Same angle, not up and down, a little bit angled in so the point is towards the tent. Again, halfway in just in case it needs adjustments. Same with the other 4 corners. So we have the 4 corners down. Now it's time to do the front vestibule / rainfly. So when I say vestibule, this might be a little confusing because this is not typical for most tents. You're gonna find this zipper that's on the front, right here. The front, we know it's the front because there's that grommet down there. We're gonna find the little elastic tabs, and we're gonna pull this down. This is gonna be our corner. Now, if you see here on these loops, one of these loops is attached to the awning, which is the one that's in my fist right now, and one's attached to the vestibule where my thumb is. When you're staking this down, it's easier, I think, to start with this one that is attached to the vestibule. So we're gonna pull this taut, put our peg through, and you're gonna kind of feel this tension. You don't want this slacked out. You don't want it too taut over this way. Let the tent, feel the tension on it. Part of interacting with your gear. So we got it kind of taut right here, not too much this way, not too much this way. And this is elastic, so you're gonna be able to feel some leeway. And once you get it kind of taut, that's probably gonna be the sweet spot. Again, not up and down, especially with these at an angle. And we're gonna put that through. See, that's a little slacked, but we're gonna go to this side. It could require some tweaking, and we're gonna do the same thing. Pull out this side, grab the side that's attached to the vestibule part, find that center perfect, where the tension's not too much, and hammer it down. Well, I think we're on a rock right there. So what you end up with is this front vestibule part of the tent. And before we get back into that and level that out, let's just go to the back of the tent, bring our last peg, now back here, you can go through both of the eyelets. 1, 2, and same thing, but there's just one. So you're gonna pull this down, get some good tension on it, and once you found that good tension spot, hammer it down. And what that looks like is your backyard vestibule, like that. Cool? So now that we have our 7 stakes in, this is where the optional 2 come if you want to use the awning feature. unzip this. The Alpha Breeze, I forgot, it does come with awning poles. I don't have them in that setup because I use different extendable awnings poles, but it does come with awning poles. They're silver and they do not adjust, but they do the job. Now that this is unzipped, I'm not gonna set up the awning feature, but I'll show you how it is. Here's your awning. There's the center grommet that we keep referring to the front of the tent. There are 2 grommets on each corner. You can put a tent stake pole, a tent pole, point through there. The awning comes up, and then from where my hands are, a guy line gets put around and guide down that way. So if y'all want to know that and see that setup, let me know in the comments, and I'll do a video on guying down, as I keep saying, and the awning feature. So, but now if you don't want to use the awning feature, you don't have to. Make sure this is all the way zipped up. What I like to do to fold this up is kind of bring both to the center. So you have like a triangle right here, and then you start rolling this up. You can loosen the strap on the inside or undo it. It's just to get the tension right, especially if it's raining, to pull the water in a certain direction. Now you go into these tag loops, these toggle loops, which is pretty standard with tents. On one end there's a loop, on one end there's basically like a little stick. You put the stick through the loop, and that's gonna keep that up. Now we can go back and take this strap and attach it right here. Now if it's raining, I folded this way, so it's up like this. If it's raining and you want this open, which I think you would usually have it closed, fold it the other way so no water will accumulate right here. But basically, you are good to go with the Alpha Breeze. That is 90% of the setup. You can open the door and start setting up your tent, but you can configure this tent in a lot of ways. Big door, going inside. All right, take your shoes off. And this is something that staking your corners down, not only does it help with not having your tent blow away, but it keeps the tent floor taut. So if you are having things in here and moving stuff around, it doesn't slack up anywhere. So as you can see, I am 5'10", and well, I probably have 6 inches above in the center line, standing in the center of the tent. But if I go this way, I'm touching. And if I go pretty far this way, I'm kind of touching. So you can stand up in the center of this tent. It is extremely roomy. I don't know what the exact dimensions are, but I can put them on the screen right here. There are pockets, 3 for stash pockets. I love these vents. You can close them up. You can open them and use the toggle system to keep this nice and tidy. This vents to the outside. It does have a strap for a lantern or Hazuki light. I just got a Hazuki, but before that I was just using like a hook, and I just added this zip tie because it's way easier to just hook it on like this rather than trying to figure it out and fiddle around up there. There's also a strap here, a loop, and a loop on the other side. I don't know if there's also an accessory that utilizes as this is like an attic. That would be cool, but I don't know if it exists. Anyways, from the inside, you can see the configuration in closed form. Let's go back outside and I'll show you how to open this tent up and really show you where the Alpha Breeze outperforms all other tents is in the breeze aspect, meaning this tent can be opened on all 4 sides, and on a hot summer day, it is nice and cool and breezy in there. So let's open her up. So starting with the rainfly at the front, we have already opened this door here. So we are nice and open. The rainfly is open on this side. So next we're gonna come to the side, open up the rainfly. This can also be used as a door, can zip from inside and out. Now when you're toggling this, when you're folding it back again, that is where the toggle point is. So I'm gonna start bunching up the fabric and moving it towards that toggle point, folding it in, so we get to here. Oops, and we're gonna put it around, and this is gonna keep this part open right here. Boom. And there's also another toggle point up here. Fold it back. And this door is nice and open. Now when it comes to the back of the tent, there's one stake. We're gonna take this and unlatch it from our tent stake. So this is loose. Now we're gonna unzip the single zipper to the top, and we're gonna fold these back. Here we go, coming on back. This one, toggle point right here, boom. Now that's nice and open. If the sun is coming from one side, you can reattach this side and have it be blocking and having still a cross breeze right here, but blocking the sun on either side. Oops. So again, let's fold this back. This is the toggle point for the other side. I accidentally used both of them on this side, but each one has one. Whoops. Again, just gonna fold it back. Take this toggle point. Ah, dang, I'm not doing this right. All right, there we go. Now we got the back side open. Final door, final side. This one's gonna fold back to this lower toggle point. I had him sharing it on the last one, but it's one each. Or is it two each? Oh, it's actually one up top and two down here. So either way, we're gonna open these up. Right now that our rainfly is open on all four sides, now we're gonna go inside and open up the flaps to get that really nice cross breeze. So you have the zipper that opens up the door to get out, but you also have the zipper that just opens up the flap so that exposes this big screen. Oh, I can feel, oh, that's nice. The air even coming through right there. When this big screen is open, you're gonna take this and again, fold it back, scrunching it to the center. Take the toggle here and secure it at the bottom. Secure it at the top. And you have this big, nice open window. But as you remember, we're gonna open this up all the way. So same thing in each door. There's the main zipper. On the last tent, I put some paracord here so you can tell which one is the main one that opens the door. If you wanna go out, my hand's all the way through, or the one that just opens the screen. And then you're gonna fold this back. There are two toggles here as well. Sometimes I'll just use one, and that's good enough, like that. Let's do the other side. Might as well tidy this up while we're at it. Again, One, it opens to go outside, and the other set of zippers opens the breeze flap to expose the screen. Oh, it is significantly more breezy in here. I can feel the air coming through. All right, we're open on all three sides. Lastly is the back window. Again, same thing. Let's open the ones that are for the mesh, not the door, because any one of these sides can be used as a door. Toggle it back. We're just going to do one toggle. And there we go. We are open on all four sides completely. The cross breeze is really nice in here. The tops are vented. This is where the Alpha Breeze gets its name from, where it really shines. It is significantly cooler in this tent than my pop-up tent over there. The tent vibe in here is significantly better. I can feel the breeze coming through. If you can hear it too, it feels amazing. Huge door to step out of. One of the reasons why we like this tent is our dog can stay in here, and because the screen is so low, we can be out sitting by the fire. Crinkle likes to just hang out inside the Alpha Breeze. It's low enough so he can be laying down and still see us. Great, great tent. Quick walk around from the outside too, so you can see the breeze can flow all through the tent. If it's a nice summer day, you can sleep with it like this. Usually, depending on how you set up your tent, we weren't really setting up for slope right now, but if you sleep like this with your feet towards the door, you're looking up. We'll just go in and I'll show you. You can use this as a door, like I said. Any side can be a door. But at night, depending on how you set up, if you sleep with your feet towards the door and your head towards the back of the tent, you're looking up at the stars at night. Unobstructed view. Feet towards the door, unobstructed view. But what we realized is we tend to like to sleep like this. One person against this wall can look straight up. Both people can really, but to maximize this space that slopes down, we like to sleep boom, boom. And this whole front area, we've even put a desk in that corner. Crinkle usually sleeps in one of the corners. This is a big tent though. You can play around with it, see what feels right to you, but it just feels really homey inside this tent. As you can see, a great view if you're surrounded by views. One of the design features though that I really like and I thought was really thoughtful about this tent is if you want to sleep with it closed because you want privacy or you just don't feel comfortable sleeping with it open, even if the rainfly is closed and you close this door, I wondered what this bottom section was for a while, right here, and why there's toggles here. So if your rainfly is closed, obviously you wouldn't be able to see out, but you can toggle this bottom section of the tent open like this. And you can do this for the big front door and the big back door. And what this does, so imagine the other side is like that too. You have this open to the bottom, this open to the bottom. And if you have those top windows open, heat rises. So as it's gonna pull in the cold air, which if you're sleeping right here, you're gonna feel the cold air coming in here. And as it heats and rises, it's gonna go out the top vents. So this is kind of like an air circulation feature that I thought was really thoughtful, that I mean, even my feet here, I can feel the breeze coming through. Hashtag feet only fans. You guys got to pay for that content. But yeah, the back is the same thing. It rolls up and you can feel the breeze coming in. It's extremely nice. Again, you can exit through any door, which is nice in the middle of the night. Keep your slippers outside. And you can unzip the rainfly from the inside too, because they're double-sided zippers. And there we go. So that is the setup, walkthrough, tricks and tips, and a couple of my favorite features of the Snow Peak Alpha Breeze. I can do a different video if you guys want to know how to guy down a tent, but that wouldn't be specific to the Alpha Breeze. That would be to basically any tent. We can go through guying down principles and practices. If you are guying this tent down though, and if it is really windy, this tent does amazing in the wind. I've had it in like 40-mile-an-hour gusts without even guying all of it down, and it did really well. The one thing you do want to do though is inside here where that strap was, there's another strap down point where you can strap the rainfly to the poles, giving it even more support. But you can see a good layer of air. The rainfly is not touching the tent on any part. Solid system. Again, my absolute all-time favorite tent, especially if I'm going on extended trips or 2 or more nights. Plenty of room, great summer tent. I've had this tent in the winter too, and it is surprisingly warm, even though it is not considered a 4-season tent. If you are going to use the tent during the winter, I highly recommend buying the package that comes with the tent mat, floor mat that goes on the inside. Not only is that going to make it easier on your knees if you're crawling around, but that layer of insulation inside the tent along with the footprint makes it significantly warmer. If you don't want to check out the money for the tent floor, I totally understand. You can use things like Reflectix, packing blankets, even like Rumple blankets with their new Overland mat. Or if you want to go even cheaper, like I said, any type of insulation is going to help you with your knees, even though you can stand up in this tent, with your knees and with insulating for warmth. But that's basically a walkthrough. Let me know if you guys have any specific questions that you want me to go over. If you want me to go over setting up the awning part, which is a great feature too that we use. Yeah, so until next time, leave some comments, subscribe. Congratulations if you picked up your first Snow Peak, you're gonna love it. If you're on the fence, I hope that this video kind of puts you over the fence. I am gonna leave an affiliate link because I am a Snow Peak ambassador. I will make a small commission if you use my link. Greatly appreciated, but not necessary. Get it at REI if you can. The good thing about REI is if you don't like it, you can always return it, and their exchange policy is super easy. You can exchange it with Snow Peak too, but I feel like most people are just go in the store and exchange it at REI. Either way, I just want you to get out and enjoy nature, and this tent is gonna help you a lot. Now this video was pretty long, but setting it up by myself without walking through, I can probably set this tent up in less than 10 minutes. But I wanted to go super slow and walk you through everything. I do have a couple other videos that walk through the tent, not in this much detail, but that kind of show some different angles and setting up. So thank you all for watching. Remember to keep your camp safe, clean, and informed. Like and follow for more camp stuff. All right, later everyone.